I thought when choosing a monologue or a speech or some words from a play that I would do some Shakespeare, partly because as a playwright he wouldn't have been used to the theatre closing and having to self-isolate as such, but they did have kind of moments when they suffered the plague and then the theatres would close and they would have to be careful. But also I wanted to choose Shakespeare because he is brilliant. So, and then it was kind of, what should I choose? So I decided to choose Hamlet. And I'll give you a very quick kind of overview of Hamlet. Not everyone's going to agree with this, but Hamlet, it's a play about revenge, really. So much more than that, but young Prince Hamlet returns home on the death of his father, old King Hamlet, and the wedding of his mother to his uncle, Claudius. And he discovers fairly on in the play that it was his uncle, Claudius, that killed his father. And the rest of the play is about, I suppose, him eventually taking revenge. But in a way, Hamlet's a man out of his time. He is a thinker and a philosopher, an observer and a watcher. And he seems to have slightly different values to the rest of the world that he lives in at this time. He's not a soldier, and he's not a warrior, and he's certainly not a killing machine. And the arc of the play, I suppose, and one of the great sadnesses about, and the great tragedy of the play, is that because he doesn't quite fit into his time, it is very difficult for him to take revenge in a world which seems to him quite corrupt anyway. And so we get all his thoughts along the way, and in a way, because he can't, because he isn't that soldier, because he is incapable of taking revenge without thinking about it, without worrying about it, without trying to absolutely prove it, a lot of destruction is wrought upon the way, probably that wouldn't have happened if he'd kind of taken revenge very quickly. But I think Shakespeare is writing about a young man who doesn't fit into his world. It's like he's a man of the future rather than a man of the present. And it gives him some remarkable speeches, thoughtful speeches, angry speeches, philosophical speeches. And the speech that I'm going to choose, it is obviously one of Hamlet's little speeches. Obviously I'm not going to play Hamlet, but they're fantastic words. And it's not a piece of verse, it's a piece of prose. It's only about 13 lines long. I've kind of lifted it. And the reason I've chosen this one is because it is such a fantastic study in melancholy. And it's wonderfully poetic and kind of gets to the heart of Hamlet, where he sees this amazing world, and yet to him it's all going to end, we're all going to die. I mean, it sounds quite bleak, I suppose, but you know, he's not in a happy place. But anyway, I thought these lines were beautiful, and they really are a fantastic study in melancholy.